Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got a guest for you from Mariam, and she's got a interesting story from project manager to COO. And I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation for the audience. She's going to talk about a collaboration with tech lead, project manager roles, 360 review. And I'm welcome Mariam to the show. Welcome, Mariam.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah. I like I said, I love networking with entrepreneurs. So talk about yourself and your story and we'll dive right into it.
Sure. I am now living in Armenia, Yerevan, and I think I'm here already for 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. And before that, I was living for 10 years in Czech Republic. So basically, how I generally appeared in IT field was just the accident. I was sending my CV for English specialist, and I was thinking, okay, I will probably teach developers like communication and improving their English. And when I came to the interview, they told me that no, it's not actually as like you are going to teach them. It's just like supporting them with their communication. And basically, I became the project manager for that company. And after a year, I found out myself in HackTech, where I'm currently working already 8 years. And yes, basically, I was hired as a junior project manager there as well. And I grow up to being a COO for HackTech. And a little bit about HackTech. So we are engineering partners. That's what we are calling ourselves for our customers. We are working both with big companies as well as like usual people that just want to get their product developed. What is special about us is that it is specifically a partnership. So we are giving dedicated teams, and we are helping from the start to end with developing and delivering the product. And also creating the culture and making customers comfortable with communicating with us and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting looks like you're quite doing, career progression and role evolution. And one thing is project managers and I did a lot of consulting work back in the days and there's a it was I mean it's an interesting role not something I want to do permanently, but how do agile methodologies and virtual management tools enhance your project delivery? And kind of share an example of which tools were pivotal.
Yes, definitely. So as you mentioned, we are working in agile methodologies, and most usually we are preferring Kanban right now as well as Scrumban. What is cool about Scrumban is actually being flexible and really keeping that agile stuff all in place. So we have kind of rules, but we also have the freedom and yeah, all that stuff. So we prefer that methodology the most. And related to tools, actually, this quarter for us, our main goal is to concentrate on AI stuff. I know it sounds very cool, but we really are doing our best to research the best from AI to understand like how we can improve our processes and of course make it easier, but still keeping everything productive. And yes, as I think majority of companies we are preferring Jira just because of having experience with it, but also other task management tools are cool with us. But yeah, basically Jira, all Atlassian bucket, and we have projects that are on Shortcut, as well as Trello. So yeah, it's mostly about like discussing with client like which tools we want to use. But also like we are suggesting from our side based on our experience which tool is working the best for managing the projects.
Yeah, I love that. What are your thoughts about using for the audience out there who don't know what Scrum is, because it's a really interesting way of managing teams. Talk about what Scrum is, or how mobile teams can utilize Scrum.
Yeah, so Scrum itself is one of the methods that you can use for project delivery. And I think it's all about the rules that Scrum is providing with it. It's really helping to have that incremental delivery of project. And you are specifically taking like a specific period of time. You are deciding on your sprint. You have specific meetings that you are doing during the delivery. And you have those rules which are helping to organize everything all together and making sure that the delivery of the specific increment will be on time on the production.
Yeah, I love that. And there's actually a good book called Scrum which talks about this process. And a lot of the Silicon Valley startups, they use this process called Scrum. I've used it a little bit, like these Scrum sprints where you devote like 6 weeks to like go hardcore, and then kind of take 6 weeks off, kind of chill out, relax. And then
Mhm.
we'll talk about what are the tools that you like to do to coordinate teams, because I know here we're familiar with Slack, but there's other tools that you use.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, for communication, we are using Slack, but also we had one project where we were using Discord, but it was more like in the internal part. I think Slack right now has so many integrations that it's really cool to use it, and it's easier. Like the integration, for example, that it has with Jira is very cool. Like you can get notifications in a minute, and it's still making you kind of feel like up to date with everything. And the other tool, though it's not specifically with communication, but it's also for documentation, is Notion, which we are using. And I think it's already 3 or 4 months that I'm using Notion, the calendar that Notion provided. I think they released it several months ago, which is really cool. And it is perfectly working with the documentation stuff when you kind of like can attach any document to the invitation, and the view is perfect and the usage is very simple and very easy.
So, if correct me if I heard you right or wrong, you said Asira, or did you mean Asana? Because I know Asana is another one of those like kind of team tools that you can use.
Yeah, we I don't think that we had any project that was with Asana.
Uh,
What we are using is Jira,
sure.
and yeah, and for communication, it's basically Slack. I think, yeah, we are not using other tools right now.
I haven't heard of Jira. I have to check that out. So next question is, leadership and team dynamics, and how do you foster team cohesion and customer satisfaction? Especially, assuming that a lot of this is like virtual or remote. So, you're coordinating between teams in different countries or locales. How do you keep everything together?
So first of all, HackTech is basically we just moved to our new office, and we have teams that are located in same room, which is one of our benefits, kind of like with having great communication, because we have everyone sitting in front of each other. But we of course have also people that are working remotely. Majority of them are kind of like the other part of engineering team, which customers selected. But yeah, we have that experience of working with hybrid teams. And coming back to your question, I think the most important is actually communication, no matter how skillful you are, like technically, what kind of hard skills you have. It's all about the communication that you should have like on place when having the teams, collaborating, but also like working with customers. Like it you can't do without good communication. So I think that's the key to success related to like good delivery and good culture generally in the team.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that. Next question is, in your kind of next theme is innovations in operation and technology. What role does innovation play in your strategy as COO? And discuss a recent solution you implemented creating significant value for your clients.
Yes, so I think that's actually a really good question. Well, innovation, I think it's all around us. We are kind of like all in it, and you can't escape from it. As I mentioned, right now we are concentrated on AI tools and how they can help us to make our processes even more productive.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that's the main topic for us right now, with like discussing with our clients how we can use AI in the product that we are developing, but also generally injecting it to our processes.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Next question I have for you is, can you discuss the dynamics between project managers and product owners in your organization, and how do you ensure cross-functional collaboration?
Yes, like that's the keyword, collaboration. I think that's the main thing that you need to concentrate on, and make sure that everyone knows the responsibilities that they have. Making clear that like this is the responsibility for project manager, or this is the responsibility for product manager. That's making the work so much easier than actually like just saying, okay, do the work and find your way. Because like having that line and having that specificness in the work, that's helping to have that collaboration really living for a long time.
Oh, and then the next question I have for you is AI, and again, no conversation would be relevant without mentioning it. And how do you how do you see impact of AI on project management? Also, on a recent podcast, you discussed AI and
Mhm.
talk about, the impact that it's had on project management operations, as well as software that you're using to use SaaS to better improve your processes and your operations.
Yeah, so I think that's like the top three, one of the questions in top three list that people are usually giving. As I always saying, you shouldn't be afraid of AI. You just need to learn about it very well, and to understand it, you need to use it properly. Of course, like you need to keep that human part of the work, like not putting everything on GPT and saying, okay, generate the story for me, but kind of like making sure that your work is as much as productive as it can be, but still staying human and staying on your own opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we should be afraid of AI, and we just need to use it wisely, and yeah, making just the benefits from it.
Yeah. The next, I mean, kind of on adding to that is, have you seen any trends where you're using more SaaS and less people on the team to make it more streamlined, make it more efficient, more less expensive? What kind of tools are you using?
So I think we are still concentrated on human resource right now. It's not that we like did a layoff of a specific people, like a specific job, just
Uh,
because we have the tech that can support that. We are
uh,
still keeping the people in our company, and I think that's basically the part that is making our culture very special. But again, like it's all about the productivity. So recently, I noticed that Notion actually did a really cool feature that is helping you to generate your text, which is like really cool. I mean, like who doesn't want to have that support from like a machine telling, okay, maybe you wanted to say it in this way, right? So it's like sounding more professional, or like the grammatical part is correct, or like
yeah.
your thought is more described to the point. So yeah, I think the Notion has a really good AI feature, as well as in Jira and like in the Confluence. There is also a similar kind of tech part, which is supporting like generating thoughts based on the request that you are putting in your documentation. And I think it's really saving a good amount of time from the work like that you were supposed to do in 2 hours. Now you are doing like in 45 minutes, which is really cool. And you can use the rest of the time on more productive stuff or like more important things.
Yeah, AI has really helped to scale both quality and quantity, and I know a lot of companies, because of worker shortage and just the variety of options, they're turning to AI, they're turning to SaaS, robots, humanoids to kind of fill that gap in human capital. So it's gonna be really interesting. One of the best startups I worked for, a couple of years back, everything was like remote, and everything, it was like very efficient, and we used the, Slack and all like Google Docs and everything. It was great to see that, that sort
Mhm.
of very nimble.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Kind of as a closing question is, how do you build a successful company culture in today's remote, hybrid environment with all these tools? Sometimes you don't even know your colleagues like face to face. You're just like on Zoom or whatever. So how do you build a successful culture?
Well, I think there are really good tools that can help with that. Like there are tools that are helping you with creating virtual games. We still, as I mentioned, like we have that luxury to be in one office all together, but we are still doing team buildings to create that culture. And
Yeah.
I think for hybrid or virtual teams, it's still the same. Like it's not only about the official meetings where like you are discussing the delivery part or like issues, but it's also about that fun time that you can have even virtually. Like there are so many tools that are supporting with having interactive games, even
Uh-huh.
like if you are on the other side of the world. So yeah, I think it's all about the knowledge of that kind of tools that are helping project manager or HR roles to kind of like do that work to create the culture, even being like on the distance.
Yeah, I love that. Lastly, how can people find out more about health tech and hack tech, sorry, and find out more about you, follow your socials, etc.
Yes, definitely follow me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there and I'm always responding to the questions. So if any questions, more than welcome to message me there.
Yeah. And for all the audience, let's thank Mariam for coming on and be sure to give her socials a like and follow. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.